Africa is not a country. It is not one big homogeneous market. It is filled with thriving and some of the world's fastest growing economies. To find out more, log on to www.africabusinessradio.com. Africa Business Radio. Towards a profitable Africa.
Well, if you are joining us or have been following us on social media platforms, you know that we are broadcasting live from Galaga Estate at the BRICS Future Skills Challenge. And Leroy and I have had the opportunity to walk about, see a couple of things, meet a few people, and we've decided to bring you a few live or few people to interview who will be able to give us some information and let us know what they do and what it's all about that they are doing, why they are here. And earlier on you would have heard from the HR Wire team on the various initiatives or the various things that are happening on this platform. It's for some reason somehow quieted down. Kids have gone home, but those who are involved in the challenges are still with us here. Hi to Mediso. All right, I've got with me Ludrick, Mr. Ludrick Barnard, who is doing 3D printing and 3D laser scanning. Mr. Ludrick, how are you, sir? Oh, very well, very well. Thank you for taking the time to move away from your station and to join us. I see that you are one of the exhibitors. Why take part in this challenge? Why become a part of this?
I think it's important to let people know what is in the future. It's currently we're using it, but I think the amount of people that using the technologies are not that many.
Yeah.
So I think it's good to be involved in something like this to showcase what we are doing and what we can do. So that people know what is possible for the future.
True. And, you know, we've seen this word 3D printing, 3D laser scanning. I know that it's kind of hard to describe it on radio. You know, most of these things are better on the visual side of things. Maybe just, but for the benefit of our listeners, those who are there, what is 3D printing all about, and what is 3D laser scanning and all about as well?
3D scanning is, you need to be able to 3D print or to manufacture anything, you need a CAD file.
Yes.
And sometimes it's difficult to draw from scratch or to design from scratch. So what you can do is you can use existing components and then scan that with the 3D laser scanner, like the ones that I had on exhibition here. And that scanners can then give you the 3D data.
Yeah.
Each of that, the laser is basically reflecting on the surface and then creates a 3D pattern which is X and Y coordinates, X, Y and Z coordinates of each point where it reflects on the part. And that will then give you the data that's needed for 3D printing or then for your CNC machines to be able to manufacture. 3D printing in short is if you would take an object and you would take a knife and you cut through with a knife through an object, that is basically a slice. So that slice shows you a cross section of that product. And with your 3D printing, either your laser, if it's higher end 3D printing, or with your lower end where you've got this extrusion processes, your extrusion head is actually following the outlines of that cross section, and in that sense then build a layer, and then the next layer you cut again at a certain distance another layer, and then it builds it up layer by layer to form then your product from nothing to then something that you have.
And now talking about this, how much of it do we have in South Africa? Are we seeing more industries using this form of technology, or is it less, or are we slowly getting there?
Currently I got my own business which is called Dias Manufacturing Technologies, but previously I was involved with the Central University of Technology in the Free State, Bloemfontein, where we started in 1996 with the first SLA process that we brought into the country, and we built it to one of the biggest, a few years ago, the biggest 3D printing facility in the country, where we actually can print from plastic, rubber, up to stainless steel, titanium. So At this stage, there's a lot of people that is in the lower end of the 3D printing, not so much guys that are in the higher end, where you got the laser sintering with steel powders as well as plastic powders. It's mainly the extrusion processes that are very used widely currently. And there's also a lot of hobbyists and people at home that want to play with the 3D printing that use that kind of technology. I think the technology currently, when we started in '96 and we started to do shows and that or exhibitions with that, people were boggled by this, and now it's something like every second guy know about 3D printing. But still, I think the 3D printing industry and also additive manufacturing industry is slowly growing into a manufacturing process, not only a 3D printing or a prototype process. And materials and machines develop constantly to give you better final products. Companies like Aerosuit, they are busy building a monster 3D printer that they can print titanium. There's companies like Airbus that already employs the technology to print a lot of their own components for the aircraft. So it's slowly getting there. Technology is expensive. Over time it will become cheaper, I think. It will also, over time, the materials will become cheaper and also better because there's a lot of research going into 3D printing and additive manufacturing currently. Okay.
Now I saw where you were exhibiting and there was a little hand that was there, and there was a machine that you were using to scan the hand. And there's quite a number of people also around you. Are you also involved in maybe the judging process or assisting the students who are there, finding who want to learn more or harness their skill in this area?
Caldeas, our company, through the assistance of Geomagics, sponsored the software, the reverse engineering software that I used at the 3D printing facility. Or this exhibition or the challenge, and yesterday myself presented a course on the reverse engineering side of how to operate with the software. That's how I got involved in this whole thing. So we supplied the software and also the training yesterday. And in future, I think we'll be more involved in this type of initiative.
Now, we're here to talk about from skills, future skills challenge. Are we, from your perspective, being in the industry, being here as well, are you seeing our higher education system ensuring that the curriculum is in line with what industry would need? Because I would assume that you go into tertiary, get a qualification that's in line with the industry that you are in, but when you come into the working environment, you don't have the skill set that is required to operate any of those machines that you'll be using related to 3D printing, lasers, and so forth. Are you seeing some support and some changes from higher education or partnerships there with your company or other companies to say, how do we change the system in order to ensure that we bring about the relevant skills? Because it would be a shame to have an event of this magnitude and we're only learning from outsiders and we're not even showing anything from our side.
I think I cannot talk too much about the other higher education institutions. I can talk about CUT. I was, as I said, up to 2 years ago involved with them. They got a very nice system where you got interns that work in the 3D printing environment, but one must also think about it that these technologies are very, very expensive. If you talk about a steel printing machine, you talk in the amounts of 8-9 million rand. So it's dangerous to just let students loose on it. But I think what needs to happen is all the institutions, and I think more on the colleges side, I think we would need lower end 3D printing, scanning, and those kind of things that you start to establish the skills there, and then if they proceed to the further or the higher end machines, but also the machine suppliers like myself. If I sell a laser scanner with the arm, I normally give training on that. Normally there's a week training involved in that, where you train the guy, and I can train a guy if he got a little bit of knowledge and skills. I can train him within a week to operate the scanner as well as the arm, as well as the software fluently, that he can basically help himself and continue with that. And it's also self-learning. You must also be willing to not 5 o'clock go home and go and play. You must be able to do some after hours work also.
Okay, that's interesting. Now, from your stand, to those that are listening and would like to come and visit, what can they expect from your stand?
At the 3D printing and laser scanning stand, as I say, you will see how we scan a object, and then we can also show you what you can do with that scan. The scans can be used for reverse engineering, where you can actually take that scan and go directly and 3D print or CNC machine, or you can use it for inspection. In Europe and in the rest of the world, these type of equipment are not mainly used for reverse engineering. It's mainly used for inspection purposes, to make sure that the products get manufactured correctly. But in South Africa, due to the fact that we got a lot of old technology and a lot of old equipment that's still in the mines and all over, this technology is necessary to be able to keep the machines running that are outdated and cannot be replaced currently. So you will see how this whole system fits together and work together to be able to manufacture. Okay,
and then a high school learner who wants to get into the space, what sort of subjects should they be looking at?
Science and maths. That's the secret of everything.
Okay. Well, people, there you have it. Interesting conversation with Mr. Ludrick. If you are able to come through to Galaga Estate, please visit his stand there. Just look for 3D printing. Just look for the cool machines that are all in red and black. That's all I saw there. It was red and black in a little hand. That was so amazing. Soon, I heard somebody, maybe before you leave, somebody was saying, Gavin earlier said there's 3D printing for food and so forth. How true is that?
There is already machines. I also sell 3D printing machines. There's also already machines that print chocolate.
And this is edible chocolate.
Edible chocolate.
So there's no need for me to get married anymore.
No,
I can just buy the machine, and I'll have my food ready.
Yes.
Wow, this is interesting. The power of technology, hey? The power of technology, people. There we have it. So stay tuned. We'll be bringing you more interviews. Thank you, Mr. Ludrick, for joining us for this conversation, and we hope you'll enjoy the rest of the exhibition.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
This is a show that introduces you, our listener, to the topic of the creative economy in Africa. We explore the potential of the creative industry to provide new opportunities that will enable Africa to leapfrog into emerging high-growth areas of the world economy. Join us right here on Africa Business Radio, www.africabusinessradio.com. Africa Business Radio, towards a profitable Africa.